Hello, hello. Welcome back to Baki-Dou, Season 6, Episode 13. The last episode of Baki at this moment. There is more Baki coming in like 2 weeks. But this is the current latest episode out. And to talk about it, we've got a returning guest. It's Alex.
Great to be here, Steve. Thanks for bringing me back on.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. What was I going to say? It's funny. People, I was gonna say I just saw you getting our Haldi outfits, but I was like, how much context do I have to give to like explain why we're doing this? But
Yeah, do you want to go into detail about that, or is that kind of like a hush hush kind of thing?
I don't need to go into too much of people's private lives. We're going to a wedding. Anyway, so to start it off, I've got two questions I ask all my returning guests. First off, what have you been up to in the past 2 years since Baki was last on the air?
Wow. You've got a. I can see why you took the break. You've had a lot on your plate. I guess uh, uh, just like kind of like the usual grind. Trying to push more into commercial and television and film in Toronto, which has been good day. Good days, bad days kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I guess gearing up for this trip that you and me are going to be going on in November, and having to do all the hassle for like getting all the paperwork for that. So
Oh my
it'll be
god.
nice. I haven't left the country in a long time, so this would be great. I can only imagine how much paperwork you got to fill out on your end.
Oh my god. Yeah. I haven't left. I've never left Canada other than to go to the U.S. Except I went to Bermuda once as a kid, um, which was pretty fun. But yeah, I've never been off the this hemisphere, so we're going to India, so it should be a blast. You go.
Sorry, I was like, is India your first actual trip outside? You said you've only been to the U.S. You've never been to anywhere else, and this will be your first like global trip.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not a big tourist guy, to be honest. When I go on vacation, I love to just go to a hotel and maybe
Hmm.
like a 500-meter radius around that hotel. Um, I'll go to like my big spots are like Disney World, like go to one of those hotels, or we did Vegas and that was a lot of fun. Manhattan, you can just walk around. I just like walking around in cities, which I can do
Okay.
any day because I live downtown. But anyway, second
Of course.
question. Coming into this episode, what'd you know about Baki?
Well, I think I've told you before that I've watched like halfway of season one and then kind of fell off the wagon a bit. And of course, there was that one episode we watched, which I was delighted that my first introduction was a uh, Yojiro Hanma episode when he versed that old guy,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
the only way the old guy could win was like pulling the death card. So it was like, I'm like, what is this? I was, I was intrigued. I'm like, so to return to it again and be like, I'm like, okay, is there any more sense to this show? And then be like, oh no, it's still the same.
It's a handy trick to have in your back pocket, the ability to just die on command. All right. So this is a good episode. There's a lot that happens here, and a lot of it is about our friend Motobe. I'm guessing you aren't familiar with the guy. What was your impression of him at the start of this episode?
I kind of liked his attitude. He's the old, often people, one of the characters regarded how much he's definitely an old fighter, but nobody could like put a like nobody could figure out the guy. He values himself as people are using words like he's a practical martial artist and more warrior than
Mm-hmm.
athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Even though his fighting style is like, oh, I'm gonna use concealed weapons and stuff like that. But I kind of was digging him. I thought like he had like a no nonsense care, but he had like the even though he's fighting with a lot of concealed weapons, he definitely was a force in himself. And like you see the two different fights with him going from like going against Gaia and kind of like just mopping the floor with him with a napkin and belt. to going up against jackhammers like 8 feet tall and 400 pounds, and like holy crap, and he's still like even getting some licks in. He's
Oh,
still holding his own.
we'll get to that fight, but I think Motive should have been turned into paste after Jackhammer started punching him. That was insane. Um, yeah, I don't think you can just put your arms up for that. But the episode starts with Motobe and Gaia. So Gaia is of course Motobe's not sensei, his student.
Yes.
I enjoyed this scene because I feel like how forced things are. In the previous episode, Motobe said his dojo was a safe space, and in this episode, they make clear that it's not a safe space, and that you should be ready to fight anyone at any time.
Sensei, your dojo isn't a safe space at all.
I'm glad you get it. So should we start?
Anytime, any place, against anyone. I guess that's what true combat's really like.
Like, for example, fighting your martial arts instructor in a dojo, which I would think is like the most common case of fighting somebody. But anyway, I just I found that whole sequence, they were trying to make it sound a bit cooler. But I liked that fight. I really liked at the end when Motobe just tied him up with his belt and then his pants fell down. I thought that was a nice humanizing moment.
Looks like my dojo's safe after all. Oops. Maybe not that safe. That put an end to my gloating. Go out and give me my belt. Fight's over.
And is this like I'm under the assumption this most of the season has been taking place in an arena. So is this like one of the very few times where the fights are outside the arena?
This been a weird season. Some of it's taken place in Tokyo Tower, which is actually a secret lab for cloning.
What?
Yeah. They brought Musashi back like the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. But there was a fight in the arena. It's, to be honest, Musashi's just sort of been wandering around and getting into trouble. It hasn't been too in any given location.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway, Gaia loses. It's fun. We haven't seen Gaia since like the first season, so it was nice seeing him. He's an interesting fellow.
Okay.
I liked his little move of throwing
It definitely
sulfuric acid.
yeah, from his tooth, right? Like it was a tooth gel kind of thing. Is he? And he strikes me as like he's very wide-eyed, like I guess like wow, you're so great, Moto Bay. Yes, kick my ass kind of thing. Is he like in a show that's filled with many bizarre characters? Is he one of the more likable, or is it like teach his own kind of thing?
So this is the thing. Gaia is much more a character from before the Netflix Baki. Like he was a antagonist that Baki faced way back when. So I'm not the most familiar with him. In my experience, I like him, but I do get the impression that he's insane. And like not in the way that everyone in this show is, but more like I don't know, he's sort of losing it. He's supposed to be, I think, represent like a soldier's perspective on martial arts. Like he's very like okay with killing. So I don't know. I find him likable. I don't know if he's supposed to be.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move into the big fight of the episode. Jack Hanma versus Motobe. So first off, Jack Hanma is now officially 8 feet tall, and boy does he look it. What was your opinion on how they drew Jack Hanma in this episode?
Well, I did know prior to it that Jack Hanma or Jackhammer
Both are acceptable.
was
Yeah.
okay. All right, I do know that he is Baki's half brother. He's Canadian, right? And he's like him being that tall. It's like I didn't know if he was always that tall. I don't know if he took some steroids or
Oh,
just
do you want to
really
know?
hit the gym real hard.
It's actually pretty interesting. He used to be sort of tall,
Like
and what he did is he would break his bones and then have them regrown to be bigger, and he did that a few times until he was 8 feet long.
that's not. I don't think that's biologically possible, but that's a pretty
No,
badass
it is.
backstory.
It is. They do that. They do that with
Really?
people who they do that with people whose legs are like slightly uneven. You can break a bone and very carefully. Nobody's ever done this to go from 6 feet to 8 feet. But the science, there is some
Oh my
science in
god!
breaking bones to extend them because they can heal a little bit
Oh,
bigger
here
than
I
they
am.
used to be.
Oh, and here I am being 5'6". If only my parents broke my legs earlier so I could be taller.
If only.
I don't know where I'm going with this. But
Uh,
yeah, he definitely was like, okay, this guy's going to be like, okay, now here's a real challenge because like his thing is he wants to fight. It seems like everyone wants to fight Miyamoto,
Hmm.
but it's like before he can, he's got to. It's like the like little sensei guy told him is like before you could do that, Motobe is first in line, and you have to take him on first because if you can't beat Motobe, then you definitely won't be able to beat Miyamoto. So it's like, ooh, okay, so this ought to be interesting. It definitely is two different fighting styles, uh, you know, and
well,
it's quite interesting because like it's it's a martial artist versus an athlete, they say, kind of thing. But it feels it's weirdly at times unevenly matched, but at other times it's like this could go one side really quick.
it was a weird fight. Like I would describe it as a samurai versus the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. Like Jack was not really showing any martial arts experts experience in this fight. He was mostly just showing up to be really really big and to
Mm.
get slashed a lot. Um, the fight really is interesting. Like Motobe, how to describe this? They meet up in a park. There's a weird story they tell first about the idea of meeting in a park, which I have
I
to look
I
up if
wanted
that
to
was
I
real.
actually I was going to literally ask you that question, the Mitsuo Maeda versus George Hackenschmidt. I hope I'm pronouncing the names right.
Yeah.
Like these are historical figures who did exist. Uh, like, and they make it seem like he could have approached them. Yeah, is this something that actually could have happened, or was this just BS made up by the show?
I'll look it up, but it's such a fun idea. The idea that they have to walk aimlessly around the park until they see each other, and then they just throw fists in the middle of a public park. Oh, I wish that was true, and it might be. In that it was proposed by the BJJ specialist. I have no evidence that this is in any way true. Both of these men existed. They might have met, but this doesn't seem to be something that is in any way based in any historical record. But yeah, I hope it's true. I'm going to believe it's true until proven otherwise.
I think it's a great concept, very unique.
Yeah. But anyway, they're walking around in the park, and eventually they start a fight. Motobe pulls the epitome, the quintessential Baki move, which is to act cool and then throw something in your opponent's eye, which he pulls off perfectly with a lit cigarette. And then he pulls out a weapon that I would really struggle to describe. He calls it a wooden sword, and it does three things. It makes big bloody slashes in Jack's left and right leg, and then creates an indent in his head, as if he has caved in Jack's skull, presumably crushing the brain. Um, None of those things are things I would attribute to a wooden sword. I, and also Jack just doesn't seem to care about any of it. But like what do you think it was like a mistranslation? Like what did you think of his weird little weapon he had?
Well, it definitely looked like it was kind of a wooden sword, but I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like that they went with the wooden sword just to show how good Motobe is with a wooden sword. Like he was able to cut him pretty deep with it.
It's a good point.
Um, across. Yeah, so I think it's like just to show like even with a wooden sword, this could be deadly in the right hands, especially in his hands. I just like the part where it's like, he hits him on the head, Jackhammer falls over, and he's kind of like, "Get up, you faker."
I like that Jack smiled at that. Like he was like, "Ah, you got me." It was very fun. Yeah, I have a few notes in the fight. I like and all of the guys in Baki wear these big not floral, but big colorful dress shirts when they're in casual wear. And it was fun watching Jack get attacked while trying to take off his shirt. Um,
Hmm.
but the real moment I liked out of this fight, because it was so incredible. Jack kicked Motobe.
You're not just a top athlete. You're Jack Hammer.
And two things happened out of that. One, Motobe stuck a little dagger in his boot so that he cut his foot on the kick. But more importantly, I think Motobe flew back about 50 feet. In what might be one of the most impressive physical feats I've ever seen on this show. Were you did that stand out to you at all?
Well, I agree with you that I love the when he kicked him back. I was caught off guard a bit, but then I laughed when I saw that the knife was implanted in the foot. Just goes to show you that he's like, even when getting kicked, he still has like a counterattack to it. And I mean, when I saw him get kicked, and it didn't seem like he struggled after the kick,
No.
which made me feel like, oh wait, it quickly made me realize that this fight is definitely going more so in his favor. Like if he's able to take a kick from Jack Hammer at that, like being launched that far away and just kind of shrug it off, it's like then the fight's almost it's practically over at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree. And speaking of counters, Jack pulls out his secret weapon, which is biting people. And unfortunately, this was interesting logic to me. Motobe had a very fancy jacket on with I don't know, reinforced carbon or something. The type of stuff they
Yeah,
use. Oh, do you remember what it was?
yeah, I wrote it down. Aramid fiber. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Aramid fiber.
Yeah.
Uh, which I guess so.
It turns and like I get the idea that like if I bit into aramid fiber, which is used in airplanes and parachutes, I can understand not being able to bite through. I was pretty surprised that all of his teeth came out. Um, especially that it seemed
And
most
it
of them had
looked
been
like,
screwed in.
yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Is that like something he did prior? Like, is that something that he added prior? Like, he did lose his teeth prior and he went through surgery to get like them installed? Like,
Yeah,
I was
I think he
quite curious
lost
about
them in
that.
the maximum tournament. It's funny now it is I guess spoilers for future Baki, but Jack's current arc is he's leaned into biting as that's his martial art is biting people, and he has big metal teeth now. Um,
I this is this it's weird on how this show really promotes like all different types of martial arts fighting, and just from listening to some of the podcast episodes, just the previous one about how Yujiro kicked Miyamoto in the balls, and now Jack biting somebody. It's like, okay, I guess there's like whatever wins the game, whatever wins the day, I
well,
guess.
I think it's a big debate, and I think it's something that Baki keeps circling around is the idea of like, do martial arts limit us? Like, is a martial art worth anything if your opponent has to follow rules in a fight? You know, um,
Hmm.
and a lot of times they land on the side of doesn't matter if they want to bite you or bring a gun. If you know karate, you'll still win. But I think it's something that is this whole season, for example, is about the idea of do weapons invalidate martial arts? So it's something very core to a lot of the Netflix Baki.
I guess that's why there's like I guess Musashi is like the center focus of the season, right?
Hmm.
Because he's a well known martial artist. It's literally called the Invincible Samurai. So
Exactly.
and there's a
We're
lot of
watching a
focus
cast
and
of
there's a lot of focus on.
Yeah, we're watching a cast of people who brought fists to a sword fight, and what are the ramifications of that? Anyway, let's get into the best part of the fight. Jack is bleeding. He's lost all of his teeth. He's got a foot wound, and it sort of feels like the fight's over until Jack just goes. I wish I had a better term. He goes beast mode, and he just. The 8-foot tall Jack Hammer pushes Motobe into a tree and just oh my god, how would you even describe this?
But here's the real truth. Even though he's lost his teeth, Jack Hammer's still Jack Hammer. A lion without its fangs is still a lion. A bear with broken claws is still a bear.
Bad. It's all over. I'll call the cops.
He was just wailing on him with everything he got, and I was just quite surprised that Motobe just kept shielding himself from it, and it was like, oh yeah, the fight's over. You just go home, Jack.
Yeah, Motobe should have been dead. Motobe's feet lifted off the ground because he was being punched repeatedly so hard that he was now hovering in the air. Motobe halfway through the fight threw a smoke grenade, and Jack Hanma didn't notice. It was just like, it was a fugue state of punches. Eventually, Motobe is able to land a kick, and Jack is like, what? Gunpowder? What's going on? And then Motobe throws everything in the kitchen sink at him. He throws shurikens, he throws a metal chain, and eventually he subdues Jack Hanma. I feel bad for Jack.
Oh, the jacket he's got if he's able to hold all that stuff.
Well, it's all the aerolid fibers. They're very good at keeping stuff hidden. But yeah, I feel bad for Jack. I feel like he put up a good fight, and inexplicably Motobe just didn't take any damage.
It feels like you obviously know more about this than I do. Is Jack just like I can't remember the term for it. It's like when wrestlers are made to be. There's a term for it when wrestlers are meant to be
jobber?
the bad guys.
Oh, a heel.
Other wrestlers, yeah, jobber or heel. Yeah, is Jack like that in the series?
I mean, I don't know. Like, to be honest, Jack's role up until now has always sort of been he is sort of a measuring point. Like, he often shows up and just is like a reminder that people aren't at his level. But recently, like, he fought and lost to Pickle, and now he fought and lost to Motobe. Didn't even get to fight Musashi. So yeah, he might be being a bit of a jobber right now, just sort of showing that the new threats are strong. Let's talk about Godzilla.
Yeah. I literally thought it was Godzilla in the water.
The shot of his back in the water is like ripped right out of the like Zilla Matthew Broderick movie. Like it looked exactly like it. The episode sort of turns on a dime, and we start talking about how there's no fish in this one lake. Spoiler alert: a giant crocodile is behind it. Did you enjoy the little news interview with the guy who can't hear the crocodile behind him?
Can you not hear us over the helicopter?
We plan to question him further.
Yeah, seems like he can't hear me.
And we just heard one more piece of information.
Mr. Yoshida!
I'm being told that the koi in the Kondo River Basin seem to have vanished.
Mr. Yoshida!
It's just rumors for now.
Yoshida! Behind you! Behind you! Behind you! Behind you!
I was quite confused by that, considering all the motion and all the noise that's going on behind him. But then, rising from the depths was not only this giant crocodile, but also Pickle, which I was quite interested in because listening to your previous podcast, like, in previous seasons, about, introducing Pickle and all this talk about Pickle, I'm like, who the hell is this Pickle? And I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Oh, it's that guy in the Daisy Dukes. So yeah, so that's Pickle. this is very much a teaser for the next part of the season. But Pickle shows up and he sees the big crocodile as a tiny dinosaur. I want to just talk about. So Pickle lives in the sewers, presumably now, and he walks into a sewer pipe, and he drags the alive crocodile back by his tail into a pipe that is smaller than the crocodile. I don't think it would be unfair to say this was body horror, but like, what was going through your mind as Pickle jammed that crocodile through that tube?
Well, it's a hell of an introduction for a character. I don't know if he's been shown in previous episodes, but I was like kind of like just jaw dropped, where I'm just thinking to myself, "Oh my God, he's forcing this giant crocodile into a pipe and turning his skin into a turtleneck." And I'm just I was kind of like, okay, I can see the hype behind this character now, uh, and yeah, I was quite like the show doesn't stray away from showing body horror and stuff like that, uh, or at least hinting at it from what I've
Mm-hmm.
seen. But is it the goriest thing I've seen anime wise? No, but it still is effective, and I felt that pipe sequence was pretty effective.
Yeah, honestly, if anybody's watching this, if anybody's listening and hasn't watched the episode, like this is one of those rare moments where I just say like, go watch the end of the episode. It's a visual that's really tough to convey, but I think it'll stay with you.
Oh, it will.
And then, so all of this was reported on the news, of course, and we cut to what has become, I think, the funniest Baki character, Musashi, with Tokugawa. They're a great little duo. Musashi cuts the TV in half, thinking he has slain Pickle with his sword. um, so, and the dialogue, I'll play some clips of it, but like Tokugawa is so funny in this. Like he's calling Musashi an idiot. Like he gets cut eventually. I love this scene, but yeah, it's well. What did you think of Musashi in your limited exposure to him?
I, first off, I do like those sequences when the guy was just like, "You just cut me, not fair," and I thought that was pretty funny too.
I don't know. He's too immature to be a proper opponent.
You just cut me.
But yes, he's interesting. He has a kind of unpolished strength.
That's not fair.
But when like there was so much talk about Musashi and how everyone wants a piece of him and how he's like a top champion right now, and I was like, oh, they're really building up this character, and he's like historically, um, he's a very fascinating historical figure. And I was like, "Oh, this is great! I can't wait to see him." And then I see him, and it's like it's not entirely what I pictured. Um, it's not entirely. I don't think it's entirely wrong for the art style what the show's going on. I just can't take him entirely seriously because of his eyes,
Oh, he's a weird
the
looking
way they're
dude. Yeah,
designed.
yeah.
Yeah, he's very weird looking. I don't know if they. I'm assuming they did that intentionally just to play off the goofiness of this character, who's kind of like actually like a badass with a sword and stuff like that. Because if that's the idea, then I think they pulled it off pretty well.
Hmm. I think they just wanted to sort of, I don't know. I think they wanted to other him. Like they want him to stand out from the rest of the cast. Like he is, he's an outsider, and so he has to have this sort of look that differentiates him from the people of this era. And I think the eyes is a good way to do that. And also, I use the word insane a lot for the cast of Baki. But I think that Musashi sort of is a killer. And I think the eyes, I don't know, they just give me that vibe.
That's totally fair. He, I'm under the impression that he is going to be like the top character, if not antagonist, for as the series goes on. I don't know if Baki has had his chance with him, but I'm under the assumption
Oh,
that's
Baki
what
got
the road
Baki
might
got
be.
schooled. Yeah, got his ass handed to
Ooh,
him.
oh, ooh, ooh, boy. Never mind.
Let's move on to our final thoughts. Alex, what do you think? What would you give this episode out of 10?
I was enjoying it. A lot of this a lot of this episode, not being not really being a season finale, but like a halfway point for a season. Uh, for a show that's called Baki, I was expecting Baki, but I guess not. But I was enjoying my time with Motobe. His particular style of fighting. I think that the two fights, particularly the second one with Jackhammer, was very enjoyable, and
Hmm.
the build up for what could later happen in this season, because now it kind of end like after that whole Musashi sequence of him being like, I want to meet Pickle. You got Motobe, who's kind of like, oh, I'm under the impression he's like, oh crap, Pickle's back in town. Now I got to deal with this. So it's quite interesting to see. I think it's going in an interesting direction, and I think I'm hooked. I would be hooked to see where this goes.
Glad to
So I
hear
would
it.
say number wise, I would say it's a solid 7 out of 10. Uh,
Pretty solid. All right. Last up, we have our fan question. So I assume a typo. They asked, how would you protect the cats of Baki against Musashi? But I assume they mean the cast of Baki. And that's a great question. So Motobe has his own approach for protecting the cast of Baki, of beating them into submission so they don't fight anybody. Um, Alex, how would you protect the cast of Baki from Musashi?
I oh boy, uh, I guess I don't know this. I get a feeling that Musashi is a man out of time. Um, from what I understand and what you told me about the whole scientific experiment behind him. Um, I feel like he's also, I don't know how much of a cultural impact he's had, uh, because like I mean, there's a martial arts book that he wrote that people still read to this day. There's even a manga that's entirely about him.
Mm-hmm.
My thing would be like, I guess, to divert him away, being like, no, look over here, look at here, look at this stuff. Introduce him kind of to how the world has progressed, and look, because yeah, I'm not going up against a skilled swordsman such as he. Uh, but and it seems like he's mopped the floor with a lot of people, um, including Baki. So I'd be like, I guess if you can't fight him, then maybe you could persuade him.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good strategy. I really don't know how I would help. I think Motobe's got a good idea, and I don't think I could do that. Yeah, maybe the key is you distract Musashi. I feel like he'd be if I explained how the internet worked, I could maybe trick him. Maybe I don't explain how the internet works, and I just show him movies. I just show him Star Wars, and like he thinks, oh, how would I fight that lightsaber?
The internet is a rabbit hole. So I think you stick that in front of him, and I think he would be lost in it forever.
Oh man, Baki. That's next season. Let's see what
uh,
happens. Anywho,
yes.
I'm gonna insert some stuff here. Hey, it's editor Steve. So this is the final episode of the season. But don't worry if you want to watch more Baki. The show's coming back in just over 2 weeks. June 18th, the second half of Baki-Dou, the Invincible Samurai, will come out. Now, the less fun thing is I'm not going to be covering it very quickly. This has been probably the toughest batch of episodes to get out. Due in no small part to having two children that are both quite young right now. It's 2.5 and half a year old. It's been difficult to record for a few reasons. One is we got one with Lindsay in, but it was really tough because our kids wake up all the time, and so that makes scheduling a bit tougher. But also, I just don't have a lot of free time, and so doing a record and editing is almost like half of all free time that I have in a week, which is a lot to put into one project that runs continuously for like 3 months in a row. Anyway, all of that to say is that I'm going to be taking a break. I'm hoping if I haven't come back by October, I'll put out an episode at the very least. But the most likely change is that the schedule's just going to slow down a bit. It might go to a monthly release schedule or something like that. I'd still very much like to finish Baki-Dou, and that's still the goal. But sadly, I don't know if I'll be able to keep up this blistering pace we've had for the first 100 episodes as we approach the second 100. That will definitely never happen. Anyway, so we'll see. This isn't the end of Baki Taki. We'll be back in some form or another for sure. But even more certain than that, we'll be taking a break for a bit. So we'll be back in a few months. And we're back. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Alex. And yeah, thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I can't wait to see what happens. Listening to your podcast for the next season. I don't know. Is Yojiro? Is he still the toughest warrior around? Are we going to see Pickle and Miyamoto finally meet? Is Jackhammer? Does he got a decent dental plan? I don't know, but I guess we'll find out.
I hope he had one. There's no way he's gonna get one at this point. Anyway, that's all the Baki we've got to Taki. So see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.
Nice.